What's up? What's up? I'm back. All right, the shit finally loaded. Knock it out real quick. It's something to say. Simple symptoms may include nightmares or unwanted memories of the trauma, avoidance of the situation that brings back memories of the trauma, heightened reaction, anxiety, depressed mood, and for relationships, like I say, when you go to niggas ain't shit, bitches ain't shit, or whatever, like you intentionally don't want to go into another relationship. You literally avoid other serious relationships. That's symptoms of PTSD. This may include nightmares, you dream about it, or whatever you want to call it. Heightened reaction, anxiety, depression. What else they say? Behavioral hostility, aggression, agitation, self-destructive behavior. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. It's many different examples. Let's see, what was that one site I was on? I think of other shit. To hear shit is a dude we watch on ADD. He had a baby real young, and he didn't have sex for another 2 years. And of course, I mean that probably was a smarter thing for him to do. But the nigga had PTSD. He wouldn't try to participate in that shit ever again. At least for the time being. Like I said, flashbacks or what do you call it, daydreams, or where you think about it. I even said it with when we have PTSD when it deals with sex. Like you'd be in a random and that just go into the urges that we have and that we try to ignore and shit. Like nigga, those thoughts and shit pop up for a reason. It's just because, I mean, we need a sexual release most of the time. And it don't have to be for someone else. I talked about masturbation in the last video, but those are just understanding. And then, like I said, not what the fuck did I say? Not I can't even get it out. When they say sex is a sin and all the different things, not feeling that guilt or whatever. Couldn't get that shit out for nothing. Emotional numbness, avoidance of places, people, activities, reminder of the trauma. Yeah, man, like it goes through a lot of different. I like my boy Decal. He got PTSD. No bullshit. Like numbness, like avoidance. We all have a certain amount of that. I don't care what anybody say. We all, like I said, everybody has some level of this shit. We all low key some type of victims, and if we don't properly deal with ourselves, bro, we're not gonna understand how to deal with others and all this different other shit. Cause we avoid that shit in ourselves. So when somebody else act out and shit, we look at them as bad or whatever, or easily tempted or some shit. But it's like, nah, bro, like it's just not that. It's not like, I guess we too judgmental, even when it comes to ourselves. But whatever. Increased arousal such as difficulty sleepy, concentrating. Mm. Shit, I'm low-key traumatized with spending money because I don't like being broke, and I feel like spending too much money put me in bad situations. So I hate spending money because it always bring me back to not having money in a sense. And that's what trauma I have to, PTSD I have to get and unlayer and unbuild. I talk about being cheap and all that other shit. Yeah, it can work for you, but when you just all that, like it can overconsume you. Let's see. But yeah, like I said, we all have different things that we deal with. Small, big, medium. And this is like they talking about let me see what's this. They say this criteria that applies to adults, adolescents, and children older than 6. And I'm just gonna read the last one. Experience repeated or extreme exposure to adverse details of traumatic events. Examples are responders collecting human remains, police officer repeatedly exposed to details of child abuse or domestic abuse. And then it says, no, this does not apply to exposure through electronics, media, television, movies, pictures, unless the exposure is work related. But I disagree because with that last point, um, we watch these things and we watch women get abused on TV, like especially when you was in the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever rhetoric they had going on, you would subconsciously or consciously think you don't have to respect women in the real life. Like the shit that you watch on TV, maybe if TV was just looked at as a form of entertainment or like it was just something to laugh at, but the fact that we think that people on TV are so much better or having a greater life or grander life than us, we look at their way of living as a way that we could possibly be living a better our lives. So maybe if I treat my woman like this, or maybe if I treat my husband like this, like I can, whatever. So I think we get traumatized from TV shows and shit like that too. But in the more stronger events, of course, when you physically going through these things or constantly have to go through those things. And it's a recurring distressing dreams in which the content or effect, I always say, i.e., feeling of the dreams are related to events. Because another one said nightmares, and I don't necessarily think of it as nightmares, but where you have dreams and they emotionally affect you, especially in your day, your day in your actual day, it affects you. You gonna pass it? You asked. Y'all heard her ask.
And then you had on the concentrating, you emphasized on the concentrating, so I thought you was talking to me.
Yeah, I wasn't talking to you. Psychological reactions to reminders of traumatic events. And I wouldn't say traumatic events, but when you be like, so what's up with you and that girl? Fuck that bitch. Like when you instantly have a negative emotions towards her. Or I can even, if it's like if you miss her and you just like a positive, like you probably do miss her, you still say fuck that bitch or whatever. It might be a good or bad feeling you feel towards them. But like I said, it's still some level of PTSD there, or him or whoever it is. Persistence avoiding of distressing memories and thoughts and feelings. Man, there's a bunch of different ones. I like this one. This is a physical reason, but an inability to remember events in an important aspect. I'm sorry. The inability to remember an important aspect of the traumatic event. And like I said, I'm giving my versions of these because I know these are shit that affects people still in their own ways. But they said, oh, not due to head energy, alcohol, or drugs. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Okay, well, yeah, this how I would say this too. Like, if you went through a certain situation and you only remember the bad, like, or in a certain situation, we was watching the battle at the Royale or some shit, and it was dealing with an older man seducing this younger girl, and he could do no wrong. That's a part of trauma too. Like, just it don't have to necessarily be bad or good, but whenever you look at this person and you only think good of them, that could be some type of trauma. Because there's nobody in this world that's all good. So that's when also some type of programming, when you look at celebrities and when they do bad job, be like, oh, well, you just this fucked up person. We thought you was like this. For instance, Bill Cosby. Everybody thought he was all good. But no, nigga, of course there's some flaws in there somewhere. And so when the flaws do come out, y'all don't understand it because y'all always was programmed through, thinking they was just, a certain way. Well, yeah, I think that could be traumatizing too, especially when you get the fall of that person that you think was this almighty person. That shit that comes after that kind of can fuck with you, and the amount of trust that you'll give to the next person or whatever. But persistence, aggravated negative beliefs or expectations about oneself. Persistence or I said that wrong. Exaggerated negative beliefs or expectations about oneself. That's the most important one. Yeah, out of all the ones I read so far, persistence and persistence and exaggerated negative beliefs or expectations about oneself. Yeah, that's the best one I read so far. Like, I think that's almost everybody when it comes. Not everybody, but it's a big part of society, that a big group of society that feels that way about themselves, that lacks confidence, that has low self-esteem, and that's where you get all this depression and shit from, or you get all these drug abuses from. Like, I think that's where that shit comes from. Well, yeah, I think that's once that trauma goes away about ourselves, because that exaggerated negative thoughts or beliefs, like that comes from certain experiences or situations you went through. Like, as a kid, I mean, unless somebody as a kid was just telling you ain't shit, like literally you had to go through some type of experience or a situation that made you feel like you wasn't shit. Like that made you feel small or something like that. And you have to get past that situation or past that time to, understand yourself better or believe in yourself or trust yourself or whatever it is. Maybe you went into a bad situation, put yourself in a bad situation. And I used to be like, I couldn't trust myself. Like, it's just the truth. Like, at the time I felt like I didn't know myself enough to trust myself. So, yeah, it just is what it is. Persistence, distorted blame of self or others about cause or consequence of traumatic events. When you always blame somebody, like it's pretty simple. Or always take the blame. Like, it can go either way. Persistent fear, horror, anger, guilt, or shame. Religion preached that. Persistent guilt. I talked about that when you masturbate and feel when you feel bad after, it's because you taught that shit as a sin. You taught not to love yourself and shit like that. They teach you to fear God, of course. You're horrified of hell. So I mean, the only two things they missing is anger and shame and shit. God's angry at you and you should feel the same as yourself. There you go. That's religion for you. And I'm not talking about just the Bible, but how they teach religion. Like, if you read the Bible for yourself, that's all that's in the Bible. It's all emotions in the Bible. But yeah, some people would just teach love, but no, there's some anger in there too. Whatever. I don't want to get into it too deeply. Mark. Oh, that wait, those are two different things. Feeling of detachment or arrangement from others. Yeah. I think I talked about that in the last video, where you keep trying to fit into society, and every time you fit in, they just hit you with the nope, you good, you can't fit in here. That becomes traumatizing in the sense of you be like, what's wrong with me? There ain't nothing wrong with you. Society trash. So, yeah. The persistence and inability to experience positive emotion. Yeah, that's a problem. Like I said, I hate people that's too positive because they can't experience negative emotion, and that's a problem. But the same exists for the other spectrum, the other side of the spectrum. There's some people that's too negative and can't be positive at all, and it's like, no, there's a balance to this shit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And just understanding, bro, like we all have some level of trauma that we haven't properly dealt with or is dealing with or maybe have got over. It depends on what level you on. I'm not gonna say everybody at the same fucking level. But be aware of past shit and future events that can be traumatizing, especially if you're not, being consciously aware of these certain things that are these certain things that are popping up in your head because of these experiences, like these thoughts that start to creep in and start to live in your head over time. Like that's how shit become traumatizing too. It all starts from an event or experience, and whatever thought you get from that experience, you hear it once, and you start to believe it or you don't, and either it starts to manifest more and come into your life more, or it slowly starts to leave out your head. And I mean, it just depends on what it is, to be honest. But honestly, everything deals with self. So you gotta understand how shit makes you feel. I can't sit up here and tell you. Honestly, I just can't sit up here and tell you. But yeah, like I said, flip all those traumatizing events into some strength. Don't let that shit weigh you down. Don't let that shit hold you back. But understand, we all are victims to our environments, and and we just have to go as that. I mean, figure out life as that. Like, I don't even know how else to explain it, to be honest. Well, yeah, just wanted to read some of the different symptoms of PTSD, and just to show, like, bro, it's many of us out here that's like that. It's not just niggas that went to war, or just to show we all in some type of war or battle. And maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I'm out. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Please comment, share it. I'm trying to get 1K. Deuces.